AB's community. Today we got a quick interview with Jeff from Uptrennd. Now, Uptrennd is a social media platform. This is not a sponsored video. This is just something I wanted to show to my community. There's a really good way for you to make money. There's people making $20 a day, and for third world countries, this is a huge thing when their pay is $50 a month. They did no fundraising, they did no ICO before, so they've just created this platform. They're going decentralized. They're going to be doing a fundraising. So this is a really good interview, and there's a way for you to also earn money. So I hope you enjoy, and leave a like if this has helped you. So let's get straight to it. What's up, crypto people? It's Crypto Beast here, and today I'm joined by Jeff from Uptrennd. How are you doing, Jeff? You well?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Well, thank you for joining us today. Now, Uptrennd is a social media platform. We have discussed a couple of them on my channel before, but this one really stood out for me. So this isn't a sponsored video. I just wanted to sort of discuss the platform and show everybody what it's all about. So, Jeff, in your own words, tell us a little bit about Uptrennd.
Yeah, so Uptrennd was built because, as I'm sure everyone is starting to see in the traditional social media world, is that we're completely disenfranchised and treated like disposable commodities. We're advertised to, we're not given anything in return. Our data is leaked, it's sold. It kind of feels like what happens in politics. There's these big scandals, but then nobody does anything about it.
Facebook,
and it feels like we're
Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So Facebook is the kind of like. Yeah, it's just absurd how we're kind of bending over backwards because we're so complacent or comfortable with just this system. And so now with the advent of blockchain technology, it's brought in the opportunity for people to be able to create different methods that we can actually really empower the people. So Uptrennd is built to empower the people. That's the kind of one sentence click. Yeah. And we're doing that through a few ways. So it's freedom of speech is one of our foundational pillars, data security, and distribution of wealth. And so like this is what we are all about. And so when I say distribution of wealth, every time you get an upvote on Uptrennd, you're actually paid in the one-up currency. And so this is providing some pretty drastic effects for people. People are earning up to $20 a day equivalent just for engaging on this platform. So when you're able to essentially take the profits away from the corporations and give them back to the people, it can create some really profound effects.
That's right, yeah. So going sort of back into the points and earnings system, so I read sort of how it works. It says you can earn points and then exchange them for the token. Did I understand that correctly?
That's right, yeah. So if we were a fully on-chain platform, the points and token would be synonymous.
That's right.
However, just because we bootstrapped, we didn't do an ICO, it was born, in the bear market, and also just coming off a time where projects were raising $30 million and then, like half a year or even a year later having nothing to show for it. And I was just so frustrated by that, and I just felt that people were getting so slighted by these companies. And so I thought, can great things be built without capital? And so I really treated it like an
said the exact same thing for the platform that I built, because I have a review platform where we review other blockchain projects, and I said the same thing. You do not need to raise $30 million or whatever $1 million to create something useful. Create it first and then ask for the capital. And I love exactly what you just said. I love that.
That's the thing. I mean, like, the capital helps, but it's certainly not everything. You look at a platform like Voice, they paid $30 million for their domain name, and they spent $100 million on developers over what would have been a year or 2 year period. It doesn't even make sense. So I think there's this big disparity right now in the crypto space between two factors. One is resources and resourcefulness, and people are just so focused on resources that they put the resources or resourcefulness totally to the side. And so, I think something that we both see is how you can flip that script, and if you're adding value into the ecosystem, then that's when things can really start to get rolling.
It's like a kid in a candy store. That's what happened with the ICOs. They didn't know what to do with their money, so they spent it, in my opinion, in the wrong way. And now you can see the final products, and they're nothing. So now we're seeing a trend in companies not raising funds straight away, but delivering a product and then actually asking for the funds if the product is good. And I love the way the industry is heading. And that seems like that's what you're doing at the moment. So the points can be exchanged for tokens. It's 1 point for 1 token, and there's tiers that you can progress through. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. So, when you first sign up to the platform, you just start at level 1, pretty basic. After you earn 100 points, you can then level up to level 2. At level 2, you're going to earn 1.1 points per upvote. And then on level 3, 1.2, so on and so forth. And so the more you level up, the more you're essentially investing into yourself, the more you can earn in the future. And our percentage that people are locking in these points and leveling up is really astounding. It's over 75%. Some months it's been as close to 95% that people are not even cashing out, but just investing into the longevity of the platform and themselves.
Yeah, so that sort of brings me on to my next question. Now, a lot of companies, you're sort of, let's say, giving away tokens. Now, no company is a charity. So the question I have to ask, and might be a difficult one, is that what does it do to the price of your token? Have you seen the trend in regards to yourself giving out more users and the token going down or up? Like, what does it do to the price?
For sure, yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, like you mentioned, it's all based on buy pressure and sell pressure. And if you have more sell pressure than you have buy pressure, then your token price is. Which way did I say? If you have more buy pressure, it's going up. More sell pressure, it's going down.
That's right.
So so the balance is, how do you create an equilibrium, or how do you create a sustainable model so that your token isn't decreasing in value all the time? And I have to be careful how I phrase all these things because of legalities and all that kind of SEC wildness. Luckily, I'm in Indonesia, so that you can't catch me out here. But
too far away.
Essentially, it's how do you create scarcity and utility, and those are the two big things. So. Utility, the big thing is if you want to advertise on Uptrend or promote your post or level up, you have to use those points or those tokens. So you can purchase you can purchase tokens on an exchange, send them over to Uptrend, level up your account, buy advertisements, and so right now you can get 2 views for 1 token or 1 point. So right now I think that would be half of a cent or just over half of a cent per view to a crypto audience. And if you're in marketing, that's a really, really good price, especially for a niche market like this. And then also, how do you create scarcity is the second point. And how you create scarcity is just based on your foundational token structure. So if you look at something like Steemit, they're an inflationary currency. So there's going to be more and more and more in the circulation pool all the time. And so just by nature, supply and demand, token price goes down. So what Uptrend has done, we are actually a deflationary currency. So over every month, when certain actions happen on the platform, say like somebody locks in points to their account, we take 30% of those points, and then we burn that from the cold storage supply, and then 20% we allocate that into our DAO fund, or maybe easier way to say it for someone who doesn't know what a DAO is, our community growth fund, where we'll pay out people from the community to perform various tasks, not necessarily simple bounties, but more so as, okay, hey, we want to, we need someone who's specialized in SEO, or we need someone who can promote to Reddit. And so people can start stepping up, and this comes out through the Community Growth Fund, which is stage 1 of our DAO.
Okay, that's pretty good. So you've got a nice balance going on. Now, going back to the DAO, you're looking to do your own STO, is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the idea behind the STO and why you're trying to raise funds, and what's the future looking like now?
For sure, yeah. So in regards to the STO and the DAO, which are separate things, but work in tandem in a big ecosystem. So the STO, security token offering, is us essentially offering equity to the public. Right now, most companies, like Facebook, they do their seed round, their Series A, their Series B, their Series C, maybe even further. And those are all to VC funds. And so when they finally do their IPO, it's the retail investor that has to buy in at the highest rate, and so they're really disenfranchised there. So with an STO, what can then happen is retail investors can get in at the very ground floor where the VC funds would typically be able to do that. So that's a big benefit for retail investors. However, the main reason why we want to launch this STO is because we want Uptrend to be owned by the people, not by a select few who have their interests, solely rooted in profit. And so that's something that we're really excited about. And that ties into the DAO, which you mentioned. So a DAO is, I guess you could say, a form of governance rather than it's dictated like a pyramid, where the CEO dictates the people who dictates more people. The DAO is more like that mesh, that those. It's like a distributed governance where everybody has a voice in the ecosystem, and you can weight people differently, based on how much they've been contributing, because obviously some people are more qualified than others. So the big idea, umbrellaing the DAO and the STO, is that Uptrend will be the first social media platform to ever be controlled and owned by the users. And I think that's super exciting.
That is pretty exciting. I really do like that. Now, we sort of touched upon this. Now, you're looking within 3 years to make a fully decentralized platform. Now, how is this going to look for us and for the users? What's going to change when you do this?
Yeah, and so the main thing around decentralization is removal of bias, I guess you could say. Obviously, being on chain and having automated processes are really attractive. But the biggest thing that I feel people like about decentralization are being censorship free, and also like having control of their own data. And so those are the two main things that we're focusing on: is how can we remove the moderators? How can we let the community essentially govern itself in a wise way? And it's a big conversation to have, just to kind of get a little granular on this, because I think it is important to talk about. Let's say, a lot of people come onto Uptrend and they're left-leaning. And so we have 90% of the people on our platform who are left-leaning. And then we say, okay, we're going to open it up to a DAO. It's fully decentralized. In this sense, everybody makes decisions. And then somebody who's right-leaning comes onto the platform and makes a statement. Now, if those 90% of people feel very passionate and they don't have the wherewithal to kind of like ease their emotions, and, you go on Reddit or YouTube comments, and the internet is a crazy place. People do not have their emotions in check. And so then what happens? What happens then? When 90 people have a different opinion than the 10%, how does censorship go into play there? So this is a very interesting dance that we're going to be playing and we're exploring right now. So the kind of like to summarize a quick answer is, what's it going to look like? We don't know. We're experimenting with different options and iterances, and Uptrend has always been an experiment from day one. And so we're keen to see where it evolves into, but at the foundation of it, I think the community can, feel safe in knowing that in our best interests and where we're taking this is as little censorship as absolutely possible, and they own all of their data. Those are the two foundations that we really are aggressively moving towards.
I absolutely love that. You're giving the users the ability to sort of control the platform. You didn't ask for funds straight away, but you're asking for them because you want more development, and I guess that's what the users want at the end of the day as well. So I really love the direction you're heading. That's all the questions my community had and that I had. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we finish this interview?
Something that I want to highlight that I feel has been very interesting on Uptrend, and it's been coming up in the last month or so, because we've just opened up our withdrawal process recently. Before, kind of like points were self-contained. But now that the withdrawal process is open, people are converting the points into cryptocurrency and then potentially withdrawing that into cash or paying with crypto in their ecosystems. But it's been creating such a profound effect for people who live in disenfranchised or impoverished or corrupt countries. It's absolutely wild to think that over 50% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. A lot of these people live on less than $50 a month as a minimum wage monthly salary. And you can look at Venezuela as a great example, and there's tons others. And so there's been dozens upon dozens of testimonials on Uptrend on how people are now earning, say $20 a day or $50 a week on Uptrend. And to us, you're in UK, I'm Canadian, so it's like, okay, that's like an extra, maybe we'll go to a movie or we'll get a little dinner out. But to them, that's like, they're saying like, okay, I can afford electricity now. I wasn't able to pay for electricity. I can now afford to buy shoes, period. And it's mind-boggling to see the effects that this is having. And so, I guess the reason I love talking about it is it's just such a perspective opener on how this new era of, I guess you could say, social media, just to keep it really simple, is really impacting the world at large. And so I think that's really cool. So even if, Uptrend, we're still in beta, we're still growing, the UI isn't the best but we have some insane upgrades coming in the next 2 weeks. As you engage on Uptrend, just know that like you are helping to support people around the world that can now really feed their families. Like I don't know how many times people use the word "I can now survive." In their posts, and so that's really powerful.
Yeah, you're literally changing people's lives by the sound of it, because if they're earning $50 and now they can earn 20 per day or per week even, that is literally changing their lives. So that's a really huge accomplishment for, you know, a non-funded platform at the end of the day. So absolutely amazing. Look, I really want to thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank you for what you've done with your platform, and I do wish you all the best. I'm going to leave all the information below under this video so everyone can sign up to the platform. I do strongly suggest that you do, and get involved, start posting, start sharing, and start earning at the end of the day. So Jeff, look, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it has been. This has been Crypto Beast and Jeff from Uptrend. All the best. Bye-bye.